A hypothetical conflict between the United States and Iran raises many complex factors, including military capabilities, geopolitical considerations, economic resources, and international alliances. While it's impossible to predict with certainty the outcome of such a war, analyzing both nations' strengths and weaknesses provides insight into how a confrontation could unfold. In this analysis, we will examine military capabilities, strategic advantages, and potential global consequences to explore who might win in a U.S. versus Iran war. Military capabilities. United States. The U.S. military is, without a doubt, the most technologically advanced and powerful military in the world. It boasts the largest defense budget, which is greater than the next 10 countries combined, and has access to cutting-edge technology, including advanced fighter jets, drones, aircraft carriers, and nuclear submarines. The U.S. is a global military superpower with a vast network of bases around the world, enabling it to project power in virtually any region. The U.S. Air Force and Navy, in particular, are integral to its military strength. The U.S. has the ability to engage in long-range airstrikes and establish naval blockades, cutting off Iranian access to the global economy. Its fighter jets, such as the F-35 and F-22, are some of the most advanced in the world, providing air superiority in any conflict. Additionally, the U.S. Army has unparalleled mobility and firepower with modern tanks, artillery, and special forces units. Iran, while not possessing the technological prowess of the U.S., has a formidable military in its own right, especially in terms of asymmetric warfare. Iran's military strategy heavily relies on its ability to conduct operations through proxy forces and irregular tactics, which could be a significant challenge for traditional, large-scale militaries. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps (IRGC), with its Quds Force, has extensive experience in operating in proxy wars, particularly in Iraq, Syria, and Yemen. Iran's military strength lies in its robust missile program, including both short and medium-range ballistic missiles, which could threaten U.S. forces in the region. The Iranian Navy, though significantly smaller than that of the U.S., is capable of engaging in asymmetrical naval warfare using fast attack boats and mines to harass and disrupt larger naval forces. Iran also possesses a significant defense infrastructure, including underground military bases and air defense systems like the Russian-made S-300, which could complicate any airstrike campaigns. Iran's military strategy focuses heavily on defense and deterrence, aiming to prevent foreign intervention through the threat of retaliatory strikes and destabilization efforts in neighboring countries. The country's geographic position, controlling vital straits like the Strait of Hormuz, is strategically significant. This choke point is responsible for the passage of a substantial portion of the world's oil, and any disruption to global oil flows would have severe economic consequences, potentially dragging other powers into the conflict. Geopolitical considerations. One of the key factors in determining the outcome of a U.S.-Iran war is the role of international allies and the broader geopolitical context. The U.S. is a member of NATO and has military alliances with many countries around the world. If the conflict escalates, it is likely that NATO and other partners, such as Israel and Saudi Arabia, would support the U.S., either through direct military involvement or logistical support. On the other hand, Iran is not without its allies. Iran enjoys strategic relationships with countries like Russia and China, both of whom have historically been wary of U.S. influence in the Middle East. While neither Russia nor China would likely enter into direct combat with the U.S. in such a conflict, they may offer Iran covert support, including arms supplies, intelligence, and diplomatic backing. Furthermore, many Shiite militias and proxies across the Middle East, from Hezbollah in Lebanon to various groups in Iraq, would likely align with Iran, complicating U.S. efforts to maintain stability in the region. Economic resources and sanctions. A full-scale war would place immense pressure on the economies of both countries. The U.S. economy is the largest in the world and would have the ability to absorb the cost of war, although an extended conflict would lead to significant financial strain. The war would disrupt global markets, particularly oil, which would impact the U.S. economy and its allies. Iran, however, faces severe economic limitations due to the years of international sanctions that have crippled its economy. While it has managed to weather these sanctions in the past, a war would further isolate the country economically and prevent it from accessing critical resources. including technology and military hardware from global suppliers, while Iran could wage a protracted conflict that disrupts oil markets, harming global economies and particularly the economies of the U.S. and Europe. It is unlikely to withstand the economic toll of a sustained conflict with a world superpower. Conversely, the U.S. might suffer economically, but it would have the financial resources to endure. Conclusion: in a head-to-head confrontation, the United States would likely emerge as the victor, due to its overwhelming military and technological advantages. Its capacity for power projection, air superiority, and global alliances are significant strengths. However, the outcome of the war would not be as straightforward as a traditional military engagement. Iran's asymmetric warfare tactics, its ability to disrupt global oil markets, and its network of regional allies would present considerable challenges to the U.S., potentially leading to a protracted conflict that could destabilize the region and have far-reaching economic consequences. In the end, while the U.S. would likely win in terms of military dominance, the broader geopolitical, economic, and humanitarian consequences of such a war would make it a deeply complex and costly conflict for both nations.